You're listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez.
Hey, this is Marisol. Thanks for listening. This week, in lieu of a blog, I am doing a podcast because I love podcasting, and it's called Marisol's Blog and Podcast, or Podcast and Blog, or whatever. That laugh you hear behind me is my very dear friend, Beth Lennon, who has joined me on previous podcasts. My most successful podcast.
Hey, Marisol. I know. I love that. I love that aspect.
So we are doing a podcast today, and it is January
25th. Yeah, I know. I'm good. We always said we were going to do like a lot of different podcasts, and we never seem to be able to get it together, but it's the 25th of January. It seems like the start of a year. How's the start of your year gone?
I always have to pause when people ask me questions.
Like, do you really want to know, kind of thing?
It's been going well. It's been beautiful here in Wilmington, North Carolina. I mean, right now we're at your beautiful home, and it's like 70 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Blue skies.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous day. It makes it nice. Yeah.
I'm in detox mode. I needed a detox 2016.
From all your toxing?
From all my toxing. Like most people. I mean, I don't do resolutions and stuff, but, you know, I think as you get older, you see the same resolutions. Yeah. Get healthy. Put that in the wine bottle for a few days.
The resolution that I have that I realized I have every single year for the last 15 years is get my pictures in order.
You've done that forever.
Every year I'm like, and I devise a plan, and and it just always falls by the wayside. But, and you're going to laugh about this because I did work with some of my photos. And I was thinking that my resolution this year, or my project this year, would be to get my photos in order. But I think the reason that it might actually succeed this year, and I'm not sure, so check back with me in 2018, but I think for the past long time, I felt like I wanted to do it because I felt like I needed to do it. Like it was just a task that like needed to be done, like fold the laundry or paint the dining room or something like that. And but this year, because of some life events and my son, all my children getting old, I look at these photos and I'm like, I really want to get them. Like I want to get them together. And that was last year when Preston went to college, I wanted to get some photos together for like a little slideshow, and I really just couldn't do it because it was just so disorganized. So I have some smaller projects that I think are manageable. That's the only resolution that I'm willing to put out there because they're just always futile. But
I have a project. I have to get caught up on my scrapbooking project. I air quoted, people, so you know. The funny thing about scrapbooking is when I first had the twins, somewhere in my fucked up brain, I thought that to be a good mother meant, aside from taking all those shitload of pictures, was that I had to scrapbook them.
An incredibly gorgeous, sticker-filled,
very detail-oriented scrapbooks of every event for each child.
It's exhausting. And I tried. I've done 2 pages and had the realization that this was just.
See, but that's you being really authentic with yourself early on in the game. I went years. I'm not a craft person. I don't like crafts. I'm not. I'm not a AC Moore, or I don't know if you can say people won't edit that out. I'm not a craft store person. If you know me, I think nowadays you'd be like, you scrap, like, interesting. Like, like, that doesn't seem to go with, the tattoos, and the podcast, and the blog. But I just thought I had to do it, and I did it, and it was a job. I didn't. There were some aspects that were okay about it, which was I did get to socialize with some, of my friends that were really into it as well. But anyway, I had these great books for a few years, and then I had the third child, and I did one book after that, maybe, and then it was done. I was done, and then I got a divorce, and I remember in the divorce, you clear out all your stuff. I sold it, gave it away.
I remember that. I think that was anxiety inducing for me. For you, I'm like, what? You're getting rid of all of that stuff because you were ready to let it go.
The whole shooting camp together is really an effort every day to be who I am.
Right.
I don't succeed daily, but I'm just saying that's not who I am.
Yeah.
That was just something that was hanging in the corner, making me feel constantly guilty. I didn't enjoy it, and it was done. It was done, except till this year, when my third child, now who's going to be 11, is like, so why don't you scrapbook anymore? The twins have so much more scrapbooks. And, so her birthday's coming up, and I'm going to do a cheerleading, because she's a cheerleader. Cheerleading scrapbook for her birthday, which is coming up.
Lovely. I don't know if I think if you ask my friends, I don't know how it would fall how it would fall out, but I think there are friends that would expect me to have perfectly aligned scrapbooks up to this month, from the dawn of time, and then I think the majority of my friends would expect exactly what it is, which is bins of photographs randomly thrown into boxes with no rhyme or reason, with old receipts and third grade papers and
I remember
trash.
Because you do have this resolution every year, because I remember when you renovated this house, whatever year
2005.
Okay, so whatever year you renovated, you made a room, which I think eventually became some homework room or something, but it was a room, and you're like, this is
where it's all going to go down. This is where the picture organization is going to happen. And you cannot see that room today.
That's funny.
Because let me guarantee you that no organization has happened. And the dawn of digital photos, I think I was a late adopter to that. I think not really, really late, but I was still shooting film.
You had
and
a
stuff.
nice camera, and you were good.
Well, and I think that's part of my problem is that I take more photos than I think the average person. Although having an iPhone has really cut into that a little bit, but so it's not a resolution, but just a general idea of something that I think I really actually want to get sorted out. I can't even say it with a straight face, but. So you're detoxing.
I'm detoxing. I'm in serious self-care mode.
Yeah.
I am taking care of myself.
I love it.
From head to toe. I came out of Christmas. January tends to always kind of be a weird month. I don't. I was saying off mic how people that have football to look for, you go from Christmas and all the celebrations and all the part to football season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go on that train.
Right.
I just don't watch football. I really don't like football. The sound of it, the whole, I don't, it's not my thing.
It's the same thing.
So I'm kind of on that other train where January is just kind of
yeah. Because really, in January, if you wanted to continue the party, you definitely could, because it's a lot of football and then, college basketball. And we live in a college college basketball state, you know, that's really ramping up. So if you're into that, like, the party can just continues. So
yeah, the party ended. My party ended, and now I'm taking care of it. But no, it's been, and plus, you know, I also knew post the election that the inauguration was gonna be a hard time for me. You know, like,
right.
I needed to get ready and take care of myself and not get triggered by, you know, the news and social media and just my own personal feelings. Like, I was a huge Hillary supporter. I mean, like, in the trenches,
Yeah.
you know, people in my house twice a week, calling, dialing, months before the election. So it was a hard loss for me, and I knew that I had to mentally prepare myself for it, and I did, and I'm actually pretty, you know, based on my Facebook feed, pretty happy with where I'm at. What is it, January 25th, the week after. So that leads us into our...
Well, I think like that, healthy sort of break from like Facebook and the news can sometimes be really beneficial, because I have like really taken a break. The thing about like what's, you know, regardless of what side you fall on, for me, like the anxiety of it, like the thing that makes me upset is like the divisiveness. Like, and I could certainly there are like certainly examples for every for every side, but just people arguing and just not being able to find like any common ground one way or another, and that's like it's not like who won as much as like how divisive it is. Like just that we're like farther and farther apart, and then like seeing my own personal like Facebook feed, just like, you know, lots of hate all the way around.
Yeah, it's just not a fun place to go right now and be. I mean, my personal Facebook on either side. I mean, I have friends on both, like friends who voted for him and friends who didn't. And I just feel like all I see is a lot of pain and suffering and anger and sadness. And I just hate that. I hate that. And I understand
it's
it.
Hard.
I empathize with it. But I can't consume it daily. And then when, like, everyone, I'll give you an example of my personal Facebook feed. I have a lot of liberal friends. So, you know, a lot of female friends, a lot of friends who are not happy, who are just like, you know, and I get it. I had a personal Facebook post which said, you know, I'm really, really, I have to take a break because I'm really, you know, this is sad to me. And that was like leading up to the inauguration. And then I checked out inauguration weekend. And I was like, I'm out.
Right. Yeah.
Because I didn't watch media. I was in a Netflix mood. I didn't consume it, and I didn't want to because it's just everyone processing their shit on Facebook. It just starts to affect me.
Right.
I start to get sad, and it's not a blanket statement because I have one or two friends who are really processing their political shit
online,
but in a way that I think is healthy and great. Like and then there are some who are just like everything that occurs every single day, that, you know, or I'm getting yelled at, you know, to like call and do this and be an activist, and that personally is aggravating because, you know, with the blog specifically, when I write anything about the politics, it's very interesting that it's my liberal readers who have the most commentary, the most
negative commentary.
Okay, the only negative commentary I've received has been about my political posts from liberals who, when I was like, I don't even remember, I think it was called, I don't remember. I know I was like just annoyed with the whole "not my president" hashtag. And, you know, just kind of throwing out I get frustrated with Democrats because I don't think they're very good at marketing or optics. You know?
Right.
I.e. the Women's March. Beautiful thing, sentiment, 100% behind it, everything. Pussycat knit, I just like, did we think about it? Did we think it all the way through? Did we think what that's going to look like 20 years? You know, and I'm probably going to get a hateful email about this. That's what consumes me when I'm seeing all that stuff, is the thinking of it, and it's not healthy for me.
Yeah.
So, and I love my age. I love being 43, and I love being at a point in my life where I know my politics. I don't need anyone else to.
Right.
I can have a great. You and I have had countless conversations about. We can go to the policy point, to something broader, and I love having polite, intellectual, honest conversations.
Discussions. Yeah.
I'm not going to have a Fox News, MSNBC conversation there. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That does not make me happy.
Well, I think it was probably during the Bush years that I think your therapist told you to like stop watching the news.
It was yoga. It was a yoga teacher that said, be mindful of what you consume with your eyes, because that's going to also affect how your body feels. And then, I spent a lot of years trying to learn to feel my feelings through therapy.
I think when I was like, I think I need a break, it's like the internet is a rabbit hole, and you can just, I'm going to jump on and look at my, what my friends are eating for dinner, and then like an hour later, you're like crying. But I think I knew I needed a break is it was after Trump had done his press conference, the one before the inauguration, and I think he was at Trump Tower, and he was in front of like all the flags. And I think that Obama had given his like farewell address like a night or two before. And so it was the photo on Facebook was, isn't it nice to see like President-elect Trump standing in front of the American flag, and not like Barack Obama, not a flag in sight. And then after that, chaos ensued. And I'm pretty sure that they're still arguing about that, 2 weeks later. And there were flags, but it was just interesting that was, I'm like, what is, I was like, I just need a break. So
yeah. I'm at this, like, I had a routine after I dropped my kids off to school, coming home, getting that second cup of coffee, sit down, and before I start on the emails or whatever I'm working on, check Facebook. What's going on?
Yeah.
What are my people doing? And it used to be like a 5-10 minute thing that I enjoyed doing. Not anymore. Like I log on, and it's, a combination of being told who to call, where to call, what's, 10 people.
Who's not wearing the flag pins? Yeah.
I get less of that. I didn't unfriend anyone because of politics or anything. I was actually interviewed on Australian NPR, and my whole thing was how I was like, I'm not going to lose friends over an election.
Right. No. Me either.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen a couple of conservative friends go off Facebook. Like say, I'm out, just can't take. I've seen it seems to like cross party line that people are just sort of tired.
But I unfollowed anyone who was going to probably have a post like that, and not because I don't. But that's their, that. But I've also unfollowed some friends on the other spectrum who are either really, really angry or really, really sad, because I get it. That's where they are. That's absolutely where they are, but that's not where I am. Like, I'm not, I was devastated with the results, and I do get upset daily with, things, but it doesn't affect my whole day. I don't, I've learned enough to know that every single day, my day-to-day happiness cannot be tied into the political system in the United States of America, because I did that during the Bush years, and that wasn't healthy.
It wasn't, yeah.
Which is, I'm really proud of myself because during the Bush years, there's a picture I wanted to throw up on Facebook, and I didn't. There was, my son is sitting up, so maybe 9 months old. I probably could figure it out if I stopped and did the math. But he's wearing a onesie, and I made the anti-Bush onesie.
I remember that, yes.
And we live in a very conservative town. I've been, against the grain for 16, 17 years. I've done everything that people are starting to do. Some people now processing I did that during the Bush years.
Yeah.
So I don't have that. I don't have that anger anymore. Yeah. Like I can have anger about specific policies and issues and what I believe, but that's what to the greater point of I love being 43 is I know my politics.
Yeah.
And I know how to vote. I know how to get in touch with the people that I need to get in touch with for what I find important. And my issues are way off of what you see on mainstream media. To me, whatever media you want to call it, whatever channel, that's just, to me, like, you're going to get mad about this thing. When all of this other stuff is happening and we're not paying attention to it.
Right. Well, I think just like sort of taking a break from that in general is like good for
mental health.
Just mental health. Yeah. I mean, I just sort of stopped. I've been sort of like slowly weaning myself off of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not like I don't look at it, but I don't think I've looked at Facebook today, which is like, even like a couple of months ago, that's the first thing I do in the morning. But my son, Preston, his phone died probably like January 5th, and it just wouldn't turn on. Mm-hmm. And so we went to, it's just a boring story, but he needed to send it back to Apple, and they're going to replace it with a warranty. So he hasn't had a phone for 20 days. And he can email me, and we can text through like iMessage on the computer. But he said he finally had an appointment at the Mac store, the Apple store this Friday, and they should send his phone off, so he should have a phone by next week. And but he said it'd been really sort of freeing, that he was just sort of living in the moment and not just always on his phone, and which is interesting for an 18-year-old who has spent his whole life on his phone. Yeah. Whitley had to have her phone taken away for some reasons, and I could just tell a complete difference in her.
I noticed too. Yeah.
And so, like, if that's if that's my 13-year-old's response and my 18-year-old, it's the same for me. Like, I find myself like depending more and more on it, and I just want to depend less and less and be like on it. So
I feel like it's a pendulum because the technology is needed for all of us. Yeah. So I feel, because I used to read countless, I can't even tell you how many books. I mean, sometimes I read 3 to 5 books in a week. Like, I loved reading.
Yes.
I loved reading. And I'm disappointed with how little I read. Like, I read the bare minimum to pass through my book club.
Yeah. Mine don't even the bare minimum. Well, it's so much easier just to scroll, get in bed and scroll Facebook or play a couple of games of Candy Crush and then go to bed instead of like actually reading something.
So I'm trying to get into the habit again of read. It's more important for my kids to see me reading, which they haven't. They used to. We used to read together. Mm-hmm. Reading was a big component of our household. And it hasn't been. It hasn't been for a few years.
So what are you reading these days?
What am I reading? I have, I should know the name of it. Should have come prepared, and I didn't. And I'm sure I can look it up. It's a book about, it's going to be a movie right now. Oh. Your Dog's Purpose.
Oh, yeah. I didn't read that, but I saw that was coming. I saw a trailer for that. It was good. You're reading it now?
It's on my bedside table looking at me. My dog
begging to be read.
My dog has chewed the corner of it, so I'm still working.
I think I cried during the trailer. So, like, dog movies, that's just like a no-go for me because I just get too emotional about them. And our dogs are like circling this table, making noise and everything. But
what are you reading?
I've read 2 good books. They're both sort of like bestsellery book club books. A Man Called Ove, or
Olaf.
It's O-V-E.
Yeah, I read that one.
And that was good. And I read The Nest. And that was good. It was sort of light. It's about the nest is actually an inheritance.
Oh, okay.
There is split between 4 adult children and sort of, what however why everybody needs it, and it's not available to them for a lot of reasons, and how they're going to try to get it back. And so I enjoyed that. It sort of got mixed reviews at my book club, and then I'm trying to finish The Lady Elizabeth, which is about Queen Elizabeth I, like back in the 1700s, and she was the daughter of Anne Boleyn, who got her head chopped off for not having a son. And so it's historical fiction. It's not fiction. I mean, it's
you
not.
still
not
love
fiction.
historical fiction. I haven't read a historical fiction book.
Yeah, that's not really my genre. So
You're more into memoirs, right?
I memoirs I love, but I love watching historical fiction. But so I'm watching now. It's funny that it is historical fiction. It's set in about the same time. Outlander. Have you heard?
You've told me about it.
that?
You were telling me about it.
Well, it's a huge series of books, and it sounds preposterous, but it's well done. It's about a woman who time travels from like 1945 England to 1750-ish Scotland, and she is there, and but it's sort of crazy because it is like there is lots and lots of sex on the show.
That's right. That's why you were telling me.
I'm like, is this soft porn? I think this is soft porn.
That might be my next binge watching show. Yeah, I'm in the throes of a Grey Anatomy marathon that I can't seem to quit it. I just can't, and it's probably borderline unhealthy at this point. Like where are you still watching? Keeps popping up, and I'm like,
quit shaming me, Netflix.
Yes, I am.
Well, the problem with Grey's Anatomy is that it's just so much. Like, I mean, like you can 13 seasons, and it's still going. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's well written. I watched it years ago, and I kind of fell off of it, and I hadn't watched it for a few years. And so I went back and started watching it, and then now I'm consumed with it, and I'm like, I want a McDreamy. How could someone like that?
I haven't watched it for just that reason. Like, I just don't want to get into 13 seasons of.
I did, but it was good because I started it right after the holidays, and so it's taken me through.
So what season are you on now?
13. Taking me through the inauguration. That's what I did.
Exactly. You did it.
That's what I did I didn't have my kids that weekend, and I got off of social media was it on a Friday or Saturday, Sunday? I don't remember. The inauguration was Friday.
Yeah, last Friday.
So
the 20th.
Tuned out, and then I did this thing because I knew my kids were safe. With that, I really just minimized using my phone. Like I was basically just watching
Grey's Anatomy.
I didn't do shuffling around the house, but I remember. I guess it was the march was Saturday. Saturday, yeah, the march was Saturday. Getting annoyed with people that were texting me, like between both days, about either one or, because I'm like, okay, I'm in my bubble, and I don't, I've gotten off of Facebook,
the march.
I got off of Instagram, which are basically only two social media platforms I use, and I'm, doing well. I'm not, and then people would text me and be like, don't want to see this. I'm not bonding. Like, it's funny. Or getting stuck in the group text. Like, I don't want to see this. Purposely don't want to see
Don't want to be in a text with 20 people that are all like texting. Oh gosh. Well, I'm glad Grey's Anatomy has gotten you through 13 seasons.
Yes.
I watched this great show. John and I watched it together, which is always good to find something that we both really, really like, and it's called Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
And Billy Bob Thornton won a Golden Globe, I think, for it, and which I'd never even heard of it. We just got the Amazon Prime thing, and the Goliath is a large law firm, and it's about Billy Bob Thornton's character going against this law firm and sort of like their case. And it was really, really, it was one that, and I haven't had this for a while, where you're like, let's watch another, because it was just really well done. And I've recommended it to a couple people who had the same reaction. So That was good. Are you listening to any good podcasts?
I'm trying to think of something. Like some of them, the call-in shows, even we're dealing with politics. I kind of have skipped over those. I was listening to Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
He's really interesting and learned a lot. He has it's kind of, it's not a religious show, but he talks about money in the context, I think, of how he believes the Bible. I actually like it. I like it, surprisingly. It's a call-in show, and people will call in and kind of tell their story, their financial story, and then at the end, if they've gotten out of debt, they have it's like a yell, right?
I think it's called Debt-Free Scream. And they can call in and sort of tell their story and have the...
Yeah. So that's been interesting. He has like 3 hours. I can't.
That's one that if you... Yeah, he downloads 3 40-minute podcasts a day, which for somebody who's OCD like me and likes to keep their podcast queue all cleaned up and stuff, you're seeing 37 podcasts. It's I'm never going to be able to listen to all these.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed listening to him too. I love call-in shows where people call in with their questions and problems and get an answer right there on the spot, just a quick radio answer. I love listening to that kind of stuff. So
I'm checking my phone to see what I've been listening to. I'm kind of embarrassed to throw this one out there because it's I kind of told you I've been interested in learning a little bit more about metaphysical, what it is, and so I've just been listening to some. But I won't mention those because I will just
throw it over the top.
Just throw it over the top. And then I'm still, Savage Lovecast is one of my fixtures, and Tim Ferriss, the Tim Ferriss show. He just had a huge launch of his book, and listen to him. But I'm and I've been listening to one I should give this one credit because it was really helpful. I got a new puppy.
Yeah.
And so you can learn everything online.
You can. And there's a podcast for everything you want to listen to.
Teacher's Pet, Training Your Pet.
Podcast
has been very helpful.
I just started listening to it, so I liked it. It's a podcast called Call Your Girlfriend. And it's 2 old friends, but they don't live in the same place, so they Skype and they record their conversations, and they talk about a lot of different things, and they have guests. And they had some really famous guests on, so I don't know how they managed to do that. Maybe we should call in and see.
6 degrees of separation.
But that was good, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Jumping on.
It's good to catch up.
And I might throw up a blog. I might not.
Depends on the weather.
Depends on how I feel, how I'm taking care of myself. I do appreciate everyone who reads the blog, listens to the podcast. If you would like to be notified, then the best way to probably know is either follow me on Instagram, join the Facebook page, or... This is really important. I forgot. Oh, subscribe. Subscribe, and you'll get a notification so you don't have to be checking the website. That's probably the best way to get notified if something new is up. Thank you, and thank you for all the feedback of the last few bits. So
that was my dog snoring.
We're done.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you next week.
Bye.